Hello there and welcome to Behind the Badge. I'm Sergeant Javier Salazar. Gosh, it's hard to believe this year is just about halfway over. The past several months have been busy ones for the SAPD. For most people, spring and summer evoke images of vacations and summer destinations. But here at the SAPD, it means the end of Fiesta season, the observance of Police Memorial Week, and gearing up for summer safety. Today, we're going to be talking about all of these things at length. In our last episode, Chief McManus joined us to talk about the SAPD's plans to assure a safe and happy Fiesta for everyone. Deputy Chief Anthony Trevino will be here today to give us a recap of this year's Fiesta events, how he thought everything went from a command standpoint, and what the SAPD is working on for the rest of the year. After that, we'll talk about something else that's near and dear to us this time of the year, Police Memorial Week. It's always a bittersweet occasion, but like most departments, we have our own memorial ceremony every year near the memorial wall at the Trading Academy. This year's ceremony commemorated our fallen SAPD officers, and unfortunately, we saw one new name added to our wall, that of Officer Robert Bobby Deckard, Jr. On a larger scale, we always have a contingent of officers who attend the huge national ceremony in Washington, D.C. One of the officers who represented the SAPD in Washington, D.C. this year, Officer Johnny Moreno of the SAPD Honor Guard, will come on and talk to us about both memorial services. Our last segment today will feature one of our detectives giving the top 10 safety tips to keep our family and home safe for the summer months. As always, it promises to be an informational show, so come right back after this short break.
I had to go back to school to get a book I forgot. And the quickest way was across a busy highway. My dad had to identify my body.
Pedestrians should never be on a highway or expressway. Shortcuts can kill. Walk safe, San Antonio.
Welcome back. As I mentioned, Chief Anthony Trevino, Chief of Staff of the San Antonio Police Department, is joining us on today's show to talk a bit about Fiesta. Chief, welcome to Behind the Badge.
Thank you.
Chief, as you know, our last episode, Chief McManus was on and he was talking about going into Fiesta and everything that we were going to be expecting. From a command staff standpoint, how do you think overall Fiesta went?
This year's Fiesta was another great event. And we're always talking about DWI awareness throughout the year, but specifically during the Fiesta time period. And going into the Fiesta time period, we always closely monitor our DWI arrests, comparing one year to the next. And we had about 287 DWI arrests compared to the previous year, which is a little bit down. But as you remember, the Fiesta time period has extended from 12 days to 18 days.
Right.
So over the entire Fiesta time period, we actually had 402 DWI arrests. And so even though it's an improvement over last year, we still have some opportunities for improvement.
Okay, and we've got a little help to that end. My understanding is that Team DWI going into Fiesta was really ramping things up. Can you tell us a little bit about Team DWI and what they do?
Sure. Team DWI is actually a partnership with some of the commercial businesses, other governmental agencies, and other law enforcement organizations within Bexar County. And so it's a combined effort to increase DWI awareness. But It's not something that we do only during the Fiesta time period. Team DWI works throughout the year to try to make sure that we're putting the message out so that way the public will be informed about the dangers of DWI.
Okay, so it's just as much about education as it is enforcement with Team DWI, excuse me. I know a couple of episodes back we had Captain Powers on and Mad. They came on and we were showing off some PSAs, and Team DWI was just instrumental in helping us get that stuff put together. Well, so it looks like we were right on top of things as far as DWI went, which again is always a concern going into Fiesta. What are some of the other issues that as an agency we saw at Fiesta events this year?
Probably the biggest issue that we have year in, year out is just missing kids being separated from their parents.
Okay, and I guess we did okay. I was working Market Square, and I would hear on the radio throughout the night, you know, we have a missing child over here, and then within 3 to 5 minutes, our officers were calling out, well, I've got mom or dad over here, and they were able to get everybody together. So it doesn't seem like there were any major mishaps as far as that goes.
No. Our officers, the men and women of the department, do a great job, especially when it comes to reuniting children with their parents.
Okay. So, Chief, again, when Chief McManus was on last time, we talked about planning and how planning for Fiesta starts on day one after Fiesta. It starts for the next year. I take it this year is no exception to that?
Yes, you're right. Fiesta is something that we plan for year-round. And so as soon as we finish off this past year's Fiesta, what we do is we go back and we look at some of the things that maybe that we could improve on or do better, and in an effort to make Fiesta a great event for the city of San Antonio every year.
Good deal, and it just goes to show what we do. We take it seriously. The safety and security of our people is what we look. It's foremost in our minds, and we just want everybody to come out, enjoy Fiesta, enjoy downtown San Antonio, but just do it safely and responsibly, I guess.
Absolutely. That's our ultimate goal.
Chief, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate having you on. We'd love to have you back sometime soon. We're going to take another short break, but please stay tuned. And in just a few minutes, Officer Misty Floyd will be talking to a member of the SAPD Honor Guard about Police Memorial Week.
I got no pulse for losing. Shocking.
Drives it road all the time. Just had a few drinks. Just can't be happening.
Are we clear? Clear.
We're just buzzed.
Just buzzed. You didn't tell us that, sir. You're right. This isn't happening. You'll be fine. I feel good.
Really?
No, not really.
Buzz driving.
Clear.
Maybe we should stop acting like it's no good deal.
Shocking.
Hey.
Ready to go?
Yeah, but the fire's not out.
Close enough.
Close enough? If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. I mean, the next thing you know, you've torched our whole neighborhood.
Which is why we're not going anywhere?
Exactly. 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Playing in the WNBA takes a lot of practice, so I attend every practice to work on my game. I'm Danielle Robinson. You too should attend school every day, because that's what it takes to be a winner. Whether you're in school or in sports, you need to show up to win. That's why I support SA Kids Attend to Win. And by the way, winners call me Danielle.
Welcome back. I'm Officer Misty Floyd. As Sergeant Salazar mentioned earlier, May 13th through 17th was declared National Police Week by President Barack Obama. The tradition began in 1962 under President John F. Kennedy's administration. This is a week where the nation takes time to honor those officers who died in the line of duty. Here at the SAPD, we had our own annual memorial service, but there was also a national memorial service in Washington, D.C. as well. Our next guest, Officer Johnny Moreno of the SAPD Honor Guard, was present at both services. Officer Moreno, welcome to the show.
Hey, Misty. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, I would like our guests to start off by hearing a little bit about what the Honor Guard actually is.
Sure.
What's the purpose?
Absolutely. Well, the San Antonio Police Honor Guard basically set up to honor those men and women who serve with us who may have fallen in the line of duty,
Okay.
or those men and women who are being promoted or are receiving awards.
And why did you join in the first place?
The Honor Guard specifically, well, I didn't become a policeman so that I could be glorified myself, but rather so that I could serve, and I felt who better to serve than those who serve others right alongside us. That's really why I decided to join the Honor Guard.
Okay. And a lot of people associate being a police officer with the thin blue line.
Right.
Can you describe what that concept actually is?
It's funny you mention that because I've got a Thin Blue Line band that I'm wearing around my wrist. The Thin Blue Line, first and foremost, is a symbol of family. The police officer family. The actual meaning behind it can be debated, but the blue line kind of stems back into the late 1800s, but wasn't the foremost iconic symbol for the law enforcement community until about 1950, when it was established as a symbol for the law enforcement profession. The blue line itself stands for the law enforcement officer, and the black portions that it separates have been coined as the positives and negatives in today's society, also known as the good and the bad.
Okay, it's an interesting concept too. Now, as far as President John F. Kennedy declared the week of May 15th as National Police Week, can you tell me what that week represents?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. Actually, in 1961, it was enacted, but wasn't proclamated until a year later, in 1962.
Okay.
But that week was basically established to pay tribute to those law enforcement officers who have paid the ultimate sacrifice, and also to allow us to voice our appreciation for those officers who are still standing at the forefront of America's crime.
SAPD holds our own annual police memorial, and it's really for fallen officers that served on our department. Can you tell me what the Honor Guard's role is in that service?
Sure. Basically to facilitate the entire memorial, specifically to conduct all of the memorial honors like the 21-gun salute, the call of the colors, the presentation of the memorial flag, and even to bring the own United States flag to half-mast. That, as you know, in 1994, President Clinton enacted and wasn't actually proclamated until 2002 by George Bush, that designated all United States flags to fly at half-mast in representation of Police Officers Memorial Day.
And then, from my understanding, recently you had the opportunity to go to D.C. to attend the National Police Week. Can you speak a little bit about what your experience was there?
Sure. I think that by and large, the overwhelming support that I saw there, I mean, just across the board, you expect the local, state, and federal law enforcement families to come out in droves, but once you see the support from the citizens, and most of them have no ties to any law enforcement family whatsoever, but they're there to show their appreciation for the price that these officers paid. And that was really what I felt was more all-worthy than anything else.
And also from the thousands of first responders that came out to support National Police Week, of those thousands, about 1,200 are selected to walk the families to the actual wall, right?
That's right. As a matter of fact, during that memorial walk, or walk of the fallen families, myself and Sergeant Earwood, also of the San Antonio Police Department Honor Guard, were selected to escort these family members. And if you can imagine, I would, if I had to guess, probably about 3,000 family members of these fallen being brought in by bus after bus after bus. And we're standing there in line, you know, honorably, waiting for these people to come in and escorting them to their seats. About 3.5 hours pass, and wouldn't you know it, our very own fallen officer, Robert Decker, his wife and mother-in-law were about to step off the bus, and as grace would have it, there we are, Miles Earwood and I, ready, next in line to escort them down to their seats. There was no other way to explain it than it was a miracle amongst those 1,400 officers who were waiting to escort, and these other 2,000 family members that were being bussed in, that we had the privilege of honoring one of our own fallen.
My goodness, that's really touching. It's a coincidence, really, or a miracle, as you
Absolutely.
put it. Now, with all of these officers there, like I said, among thousands that come from all over the world to honor officers, that some that have fallen that we do know and some that have fallen that we don't know. How did you feel among all of these first responders?
Well, just the feeling of being there is amazing. You're standing amongst 19,000 officers who have, 19,000 plus who have fallen before this time, and their families. Really, I wasn't so much in awe of their final sacrifice, but more so how they lived their lives. These officers served every single day knowing that today I'm willing to give and pay this ultimate sacrifice. They're the true embodiment of what it means to serve and protect.
Well, Johnny, thank you so much for taking out the time to come and be on Behind the Badge today. We look forward to having you on a future episode.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
Next up, Sergeant Salazar and I will be sitting down with one SAPD detective to talk about how you can keep your home and family safe during the summer season. As you know, we're well into the vacation season. With summer vacation comes summer challenges. Of course, we all want to keep our homes and families safe. We'd like to spend the next few minutes going over the top 10 safety tips that will help you do just that.
Now, to help us with those tips, we want to welcome a familiar face to the set of Behind the Badge. Viewers may recognize Detective Matt Porter from his days as a spokesman for the SAPD in the PIO office. These days, Matt is staying busy as a detective in our homicide unit. Detective Porter, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for coming out.
So I guess today we're going to be talking about, we got together before this in pre-production, and we talked about the top 10 safety tips, what we hear the most complaints coming into the PD about. And so we're here to address those top 10 safety tips. Can you start us out with number 10?
Right. With summer rapidly approaching, people are going to be out and about, a lot of activities. The number 10 thing on our list is garage doors. A lot of times people are in a rush, they're leaving, they might forget to shut their garage door. Leaving that open can leave access inside your house.
So a lot of people, for example, be doing some landscaping. They go to the backyard, they do the work, and they forget that they left the front of the house unsecured through the garage door.
Right, and unfortunately, there's people out there that look for that type of activity to go inside your house, to burglarize your house.
So they're window shopping, basically.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so number 9, property and cars. It sounds like the same thing, really, is this window shopping.
And this is a big issue that we have, is people are in a rush, they leave things in their car, iPods, phones, money, anything that has any sort of value that's left in your car that these burglars can see, you can rest assured that they'll get into your vehicle.
Now, as far as putting your items in the trunk, can you talk about that a little bit? Do you need to do it when you get there? Should you do it prior to arriving to point B?
Well, we recommend if you're going to leave anything in your vehicle, at least put it in the trunk. It's not 100% foolproof. But what you want to do is you want to put it in the trunk before you get to your destination. Okay. There are people that they're driving around, they're targeting vehicles. If they see you putting high dollar items into your trunk, there's a chance that they could get into your vehicle and try to access the trunk.
Okay, so tell us about number 8.
Number 8 is going to be home security while on vacation. I recommend for this one is maybe tell a neighbor that you trust or a family member to come pick up your mail, pick up your newspaper. Let them know that you're going to be gone, so if they see anyone outside of your house that's not supposed to be there, they can notify the police.
Okay, so the trick's to make it look like you're still home when you're not.
Right, you maybe have someone come in, turn on lights, turn off lights, move a vehicle, little things like that.
And you can also request patrol buys through the department, right?
Sure, if you call your local substation, let them know how long you're going to be out of town, when you're going to be out of town, they'll send a patrol officer by to check on your house while you're gone.
Okay. Interesting stuff. So number 7, bicycle safety tips. I guess that's a 2-part?
Correct. If you're going to be riding a bike, make sure you have your safety equipment, a vest, a reflective vest at night, the flashers on your bike at night. Be aware of your surroundings. And obviously if you're in a vehicle, if you're going to be passing bicyclists, make sure you give yourself enough room. we need to share the road to prevent accidents.
Okay, so that safe passage ordinance, I know we've talked about that a couple times on the show. Safe passage, I guess, is just when you're passing a vulnerable road user, not just a bicycle, a vulnerable road user, you're supposed to give the proper clearance, which is 3 feet of clearance.
Correct.
For regular motor vehicles, and then for large trucks, commercial motor vehicles, it's 6 feet. A lot of people don't realize that.
That's true. And for number 6?
Pedestrian safety.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we've seen accidents where people are not using a crosswalk, trying to cross highways. If you're going to cross a street, do it at a crosswalk. If you need to cross the highway, you need to go down on an access road where there's crosswalks. The last thing we want is for you to be crossing a busy highway, because there's a good chance that you'll get hit.
Okay, and pedestrian safety, I guess, goes for the drivers as well, for drivers of vehicles looking out for pedestrians. That's something we always advocate.
Right, and again, that just comes down to giving yourself enough time to get to where you need to be. It seems like when a lot of these accidents occur when people are in a rush. But again, there's going to be a lot of people out during the summer months, and you need to be aware of your surroundings. And that takes us into number 5, school zone safety. There's a myth out there that because of the summer months, the school zones are not in effect, but there are school zones that are in effect during the summer months. There'll be children crossing the street, walking on the sidewalk, so just be very careful.
So regardless of whether or not it's a traditional school month, you still have to stop if you see a school bus stopped, right?
Right. Anytime a school bus is stopped with their flashers on, you have to stop. And again, we'll see school zones, and people are under the assumption that because it's the summer months, school zones are not in effect. But if you see those flashing lights, you have to abide by those laws.
So not to mention, when you're talking about school zones, cell phones are a big deal still.
Absolutely. If you're in a school zone and those lights are on, you cannot use any handheld device, or you will be ticketed.
Okay, that's good to know. Now, number 4 is an interesting one. Can you tell us about that?
It's backing accidents. Again, it comes down to being in a rush. You know, a lot of times there's children playing behind vehicles. We recommend that you do a 360 walk around of your vehicle. Check your mirrors before you get inside your vehicle, before you start backing up. Because again, the summer brings the weather's nice, a lot of kids outside playing, and you just need to be aware of your surroundings.
And it's safe to say that we should all know our vehicle's blind spots too, right?
Correct, correct. When you park before you're backing out, you know, you could be at a shopping mall. There's people walking by. You can be in a rush, and you want to give yourself ample time to look in your mirrors to make sure there's nothing behind you before you back up.
And something that works really well for me is to make sure that when I am parking, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, when you are parking, it's best to find an easy exit parking space.
Correct. If you can, actually back into your parking spot if it's feasible.
Okay.
Using all of those safety tips.
Right.
Good to know. So number 3, distracted driving.
Okay, this is another big one. Whether it be playing with the radio, texting, talking on the phone, when you're behind the wheel of a vehicle, we recommend that 100% of your attention is on the roadway. We see a lot of accidents where people are on their phone, they're switching the radio station, putting on makeup, you name it, we've seen it. And a lot of these accidents can be prevented, you know, given that you give the attention necessary when you're driving.
Even music volume is a factor too. That can definitely be a distraction.
And with young drivers, they're going to be out going to the river, going to the lake. There's going to be a lot of kids in a car, and sometimes that can be a recipe for disaster. So if we can get out in front of this and let these kids know that when they're driving, they need to leave the driver alone, they need to let the driver pay attention to what they're doing, this will help prevent accidents.
And this now takes us to our top 2. These are 2 really important ones that we want to spend just a little bit more time discussing. Can you take us to number 2, Matt?
Kids unattended around water. This is a very big one. There's a lot of people out there with swimming pools. There's a lot of people that are going to be taking their children to the river, to lakes. If your child doesn't know how to swim and they're going to be around water, put a life vest on them. At a minimum, put the rubber floaties around their forearm, or around their biceps. We've seen tragic accidents where children, someone's not paying attention and the children falls into a pool and they don't know how to swim, or they're not a strong swimmer, and it turns out to be a disaster, and we definitely want to prevent that.
And you know, in researching this piece for the show, I was surprised to hear that 23 Bexar County kids have drowned in the past 6 years. And it's not just little, I would just think little babies, toddlers maybe, but these are kids from 8 months all the way up to 17 years of age that have lost their life due to drowning.
Right, now that goes for an adult too. If you're not a strong swimmer and you're going to be around water, go ahead and put a life vest on. It's better to be safe than sorry.
Absolutely.
Well, in talking to our counterparts with the fire department, they were telling us that this year they've already made 7 drowning calls, and 5 of those 7 were young children. So it's just something that you just can't take any chances with. It's best to not leave them unattended.
And another thing, if you're going to be around water a lot, it might be a wise choice to maybe go to a CPR class.
Okay.
Definitely. And I know they're offered throughout the community. I've seen them posted in bulletins and that sort of thing. So that's a very good tip.
So what's our #1 safety tip coming into the summer months? What is it?
Kids in hot cars. As you know, South Texas, it gets hot fast and early. We have seen, not necessarily in San Antonio, but in the surrounding area, we've seen where kids have been left in cars. And I'm telling you, it's very hot. In 10 minutes, temperatures can rise almost 20 degrees. So again, give yourself time. If you're not normally in your normal routine during the school year, you could be taking your kids to daycare, you could be doing different things that you're not normally doing. And if you're not in your normal routine, things can kind of get out of whack. So just give yourself enough time, and remember that you do have children in the car.
And actually just the fact that children's body temperature can heat up 3 to 5 times faster than an adult's.
Right.
So a lot of people did know that. Matter of fact, I didn't know that until we started researching these tips. It's an important factor.
Absolutely.
Well, Matt, we can't say thanks enough for coming on today. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate you coming and bringing your experience as a detective to the table here. And we would love to have you back onto the show later on to talk about some more safety tips and crime tips as well.
Thank you so much.
Hope everyone out there enjoys their summer.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
As you know, keeping our citizens well informed is a big part of what we do here at the SAPD. Many times the best way to address crime and tragic situations is to prevent them from happening in the first place. With the right information, we all stand a better chance of staying safe and sound, not only in the summer, but all year round.
Well, that brings us to the end of another episode. We hope you found the information interesting and useful. Whether keeping fiesta crowds safe and secure, taking drunk drivers off the road, or helping you safeguard your home and family, we here at the SAPD enjoy our relationship with the public we serve. We truly hope to make a difference every day. We thank those of you here in the Alamo City, as well as the rest of the country, who took the time to help us pay our respects to our fallen officers. Please keep those viewer questions and feedback coming to Behind the Badge at sanantonio.gov. And don't forget to check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/San Antonio PD. Thank you so much for watching Behind the Badge.
Iba a comprarle un juguete a mi bisnieta. Al empezar a cruzar la calle, noté que no iba por el cruce de peatones. Como quiera, seguí cruzando. El chofer de la camioneta nunca me vio. Ahora mi bisnieta solamente me conoce por medio de fotografías.
Los cruces de peatones salvan vidas. Camine seguro, San Antonio.
Today, we gather to recognize the selfless decision of one of the most influential women of our time. The woman who, after having one too many drinks, chose not to drive home buzzed. Here today to honor Rachel is the family whose lives she spared.